You are listening to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast, the podcast for the off-roader with a short attention span.
Episode 36. You saw what on a trail? All right, sit back, relax, grab a snack. The 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast is about to begin. Hello and welcome to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki G. I'm here to inform, entertain, and delight, and talk about all things off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. Why 10 minutes? That's how long it's going to take me to finish this nice, long iced tea. Yeah, I know, it's getting weak. All right, welcome to the show, and before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. You can catch the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on all the social media outlets, such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if I didn't mention it, then it's not a viable social media platform, such as TikTok, that weird crap that all the kids are dancing to. You can contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. You can listen to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Anchor, Podbean, and there's a couple of other ones that we're on, and I can't remember what they are because they're insignificant, and I probably just lost them. But anyhow, you can catch 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast where all fine podcasts are broadcasted, if that makes sense. You could also listen to the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on YouTube. I'm trying to develop its YouTube channel. It's going slow, but you can listen to it on my YouTube channel, YouTube/Nick G. And why would you go to a video platform for an audio-only podcast? But I do put wheeling videos to the podcast, so it's mildly entertaining. But all that being said, let's move on to the show. Today I want to talk about Jeep Gladiators. They're everywhere now. In case you've been living under a rock and don't know it, Jeep came out with a truck. It's the latest truck then since the, I think it was 80s or the early 90s when they stopped doing the MJ, which was the Cherokee-based truck. But they have a full body-on-frame truck based off of the Wrangler. It looks like a Wrangler with a truck bed. I personally don't care for it. It just kind of looks weird to me, but it's starting to grow on me. But whether you love it or hate it, I gotta tell you, it's a hit for Jeep. Jeep marketing, they really know what they're doing. I see Gladiators on the road, and they've only been out for, a year or two now? I think 2020, 2021 might have been the first year. But they're everywhere. People are buying them up like crazy, and they're expensive. I think base starts at $34, but to get one comfortably equipped, you're probably looking at spending about $40,000 for it, which I have a hard time. That's twice the price of my house. And no, I don't live in a shoebox. Well, it is a small house, but either way, I digress. Gladiators are expensive. I haven't bought a new car in, about 20 years, so I have no idea what they cost nowadays. Haven't been following it. I don't plan on buying anything new. But they're expensive, and people are buying them like hotcakes. I'm seeing them all over the road. I'm starting to see them on the trail. And I'm seeing YouTube videos and people posting on Facebook with their Gladiators. And I got to tell you, they seem to be capable vehicles. The first time I came across a Gladiator on a trail was last summer or last fall, sometime last year. And it wasn't a difficult trail, but it wasn't a baby bunny trail either. But I got to this kind of rocky hill climb, and there was a Gladiator sitting at the bottom of it. And so I pulled up alongside of them. Asked them if they needed help or anything, and I was willing to spot them, even though I suck at spotting. Here's a tip. If you're out on the trail and you see me and you ask me to spot, just go ahead and drive and get stuck, because that's where we're heading. But anyhow, there's a young couple, and they had a brand new Gladiator. I asked them if they needed help, and they said no. So they don't think they could go any further. And I said, that thing can make it. And I drove up it in my $800 Jeep Cherokee. And I got to the top. I parked, I got out, and I was getting ready to spot them and help them up it. When I got out of my Jeep, all I could see was their taillights. They turned and fled. And I tell you, that was instant satisfaction. Yeah, I just outwheeled a Gladiator. Although I don't think equipment had anything to do with it. That was personal experience. And I got to tell you, I kind of laughed and chuckled about it, but the kid did the right thing. He wasn't comfortable going up. He didn't want to damage his vehicle, so he turned around and went home. Or I don't know if he went home, but he turned around and went on another trail. No shame in that. That was my first time I ever come across a Gladiator. Now I see him sporadically, and then there's a group that just started this year called Mission Capable, for fully capable mission off-road or overland. I think it's overland. Fully mission capable overland. Talked to him a bunch of times. Met him out on the trails quite a few times. I was supposed to go wheeling with them, but their group was kind of big, and we were going to have to split off in two groups. And so I was up there with a bunch of friends, and we just decided to go wheeling on our own. But we kept crisscrossing them all day. A bunch of nice guys. And if anybody from fully mission capable are listening, hi. You know, I enjoy seeing you on trail, enjoy talking to you guys. And someday we'll hook up and wheel. But I see them, and they have quite a few Gladiators in their groups. So I'm following their Facebook pages and seeing and all the local pages, Facebook pages and stuff where people are posting. Gladiators are doing some pretty impressive stuff. So my hat goes off to the Gladiator crowd because they seem to be fairly capable. I always thought that the longer wheelbase would be a hindrance, but it doesn't seem to be slowing these guys down any. And I really give my hats off to you guys for paying that much money for something and driving it through the woods. I would be such a nervous wreck. I was going to scratch it or damage it. But I guess, so I give props to these guys that drive these vehicles through the woods. I know I couldn't do it. I'd be so nervous about getting it scratched or damaged. Props off to you. I haven't driven a Gladiator, but I have touched one. I was up in Ohio with my blind brother, and I told him that Jeep has a new truck out. He didn't even know Jeep. He wasn't even aware that Jeep made a new truck. And so we pulled into a dealership, and we got out, and we looked at a Gladiator. And he walked around it and feeled it and touched it. And we opened the door and sat inside it for a few minutes. And I got to tell you, I'm really not impressed with it. It just, I don't know. I can't see myself driving a Gladiator. I know I can't afford one. I might get a Gladiator in about 25 years when the prices of the 2021 Gladiators are very used and abused, and you can have them for cheap. But anyhow, my brother sat in the Gladiator, and he didn't like it. And he's a big car guy. He knows everything there is about cars, and he's feeling it, and he just says it just felt cheap to him. Now, at $40,000, there's nothing cheap about this Jeep. But anyhow, so that's it. Gladiators, I have some respect for them. I'm still not open to them. I think it's just a fad. But I applaud all you guys buying them. Keep buying the new Gladiators, because the more new ones you guys buy will mean there's that many more used ones in 20 years when I could afford one. So buy them up, guys. Please do me a favor. All right, that's about all the time we have for tonight. You can catch and download the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, and YouTube. You can follow and or contact the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on the Gram, the Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube. You can email us at 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. That's 10minuteoffroad@gmail.com. All right, until next time, this is Nikki G saying, wheel what you got and be happy.